Blessed is the man that worketh not in the counsel of the heathen, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful, but his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in this law does he meditate sunrise and sundown. Him a go there like a tree planted by the rivers of water that bringeth forth fruit in the season. Him live never a go wither, and whatsoever him doeth shall prosper. Yea! The heathen them now there, so them dear like a chaff, which the wind driveth away. Therefore the heathen them never go turn upon judgment of the sinner man them in the congregation of the righteous. For the Lord God Jah loveth the way of the righteous and the way of the sinner man them. Always and always I will perish. Let the people of the Most High God say, Jah! Kadama we groma be atela e Hijack beer tanayistalin abba shante 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 Kadama we groma be atela e. Where two and three meet in the name of the Most High Jah. So Jah there. If Jah never build up your house, the builder I go build it in vain same way. If Jah never watch upon your house, the watchman I go watch it in vain. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High Jah shall therein abide under the shadow of the Almighty. And I give thanks. And I give thanks. Aw mawu sogbo lisa adano woto ewo asikle afo. Aw mawu sogbo lisa. Aw mawu sogbo lisa. Aw mawu sogbo lisa. Akpe 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 kaka. This is the Blakk Pot, aka Kukushunemo, where we speak truth to power. And my name, Blakk RASTA. Now in every traditional African home there is a Blakk Pot. And each and every time this Blakk Pot sits on the fire, you see ingredients of so many different colors, shapes and sizes, smells and aromas, finding their way into the Blakk Pot. They are subjected to some amount of heating. Then they produce what is every human being's livelihood, the lifeline to a quality life, sumptuous food. Now the interesting thing is that the ingredients and the Blakk Pot do not benefit from the food. It is us, the eaters. But selflessly, the Blakk Pot and the ingredients continue to produce food. Now the Blakk Pot represents the continent of Africa. And of course, the ingredients represent us as a people. Just as food is made selflessly by the Blakk Pot and the ingredients, we must also make sure that we put aside all differences like the ingredients do and come to interplay on the continent of Africa to produce not food but development for our people, our continent, our land. We must be a tree planting generation, the Joshua generation. We have for so long planted pepper, maize and onion, one season crops. And the interesting thing is that it looks like we are so much in a hurry to plant, harvest, eat, sleep, and die and be forgotten. Nobody is ready to plant trees because we know that we will not live long enough to enjoy the shade of the trees. But we all too soon forget that the trees whose shade we enjoy today were planted by people who also knew they would not live long enough to sit under the shade of these trees. But they still went ahead to plant them, knowing very well that it's not all about them, but other generations will come and benefit from this. This is generational thinking. On this show, we seek to rewire the minds of our people. On this show, we seek to turn around the minds of our people. It's a show of the mindset. Now, if the mindset is right, every other thing will be righted. The problem of Africa is not just a problem of schools, roads, and hospitals. It is mightily, majorly, a problem of the mindset. Now, if the mindset is right, individuals will build roads. Individuals will not wait for the government to build hospitals. They will build the hospitals. If the mindset is right, so many different things will not be left for the government to do. But individuals will come out and do that. This is the Blakk Pot, aka Kukushonemo, and we are live on Pan-African TV. We are also live on Loud Silence TV. We are live on Ghana Web TV. We are also live on Black Empire TV. Via the power of satellite, we are seen all over the continent of Africa and beyond. This is the show that is also on social media. So the coverage is huge. This is the biggest show on TV. We are masters of Pan-Africanism. I want to say thank you so much for joining us. We do appreciate you and we love you. Now remember, on this show we normally would not criticize, but if we must criticize, we would only just criticize to build and not to destroy. This is the Blakk Pot, aka Kukushonemo, where we speak truth to power. Now the very first story I want to look at today is rolling on your screen. Watch it carefully. What does it say? Reverend Kusi Boateng'S diplomatic passport. Reverend Kusi Boateng'S diplomatic passport. Who is Reverend Kusi Boateng? This is the man. He has two different identities, yet the same face. In fact, he says he was born in 1967. Another record says 69. My brother, my sister, we don't know if there's another one that says 1970. This is a man of God, supposedly. I was in Zimbabwe, and great men of God were talking about this man. He is their mentor. I spoke with Makandiwa. I spoke with Angel Hubert. They both eulogized this man. They love him. My brother, my sister, I had never met him. Up till now, never met him. In Zimbabwe, having heard I was coming from Ghana, most of the big men in the clergy in Zimbabwe were asking me about this man. And I wondered, how come this man is not as famous in Ghana as he is in Zimbabwe? But the answer did not take long to come. The good man or the hero is never ever regarded in his own homeland. We know that. But this man all of a sudden came into the news. And everybody started talking about him because of greed. Greed. My brother, my sister, it took Honorable Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa, the MP for North Tongue, to bring out some exposés about Reverend Kusi Boateng. What are some of these exposés? Number one, watch me. He is a trustee of the demonic cathedral that the dirty president of Ghana is building. Is that all? No. Ablakwa first and foremost discovered that the cathedral was paying a lot of money to one JNS talent whatever company. And when he went into it, he realized that there was a name other than just Reverend Kusi Boateng's known name. He dug deeper into it and realized that this man owned different identities and different passports, plus different driver's licenses. And he went all the way to the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, SHRAJ, and reported the matter to them and said, you need to investigate this man. There is some criminal underpinning here. Check it out. Hey, Reverend Kusi Boateng said, the honorable member of parliament was only playing politics with whatever he saw, and I was hurt. How can you have two different identities and even more? Different identities, different days of birth. And you claim that somebody is playing politics with that. But he says he will seek redress very soon. The matter is in the hands of SHRAJ. Now, the money that was paid to the JNS Trust Company, whatever that name is owned by this same Reverend Kusi Boateng. So he's a trustee, a member of the board of trustees. He is also the secretary, as we are told, to the demonic cathedral, whatever. Do you get it? President wants to build a cathedral that he said he promised God that he would build if God made him president. When he became president, and he owed that as a duty to build that cathedral. There's no money. The country is suffering. This dirty president was flying 18,000 pounds an hour. The plane would fly from wherever and come and land in Ghana and wait on the tarmac of Ghana for several hours. And every hour we paid 18,000 pounds. It took the same Ablakwa to expose these figures to us. Yet, we have a presidential flight in Ghana. Presidential plane. No, he will not use it. He said it's too small for his long legs. And at the same time, he would like to take his bath whilst he's in the skies. So that plane is not exotic enough for him. Such a nonchalant president. My brother, my sister, he wanted to build the cathedral by all means. The two pandemics came in. Number one, COVID-19. Then we had the Ukrainian war. They came in to mash up everything. Well, some countries were wise enough to keep their heads above water. Our country was one of those that was able to protect people from having them die, like we had people die in America and some other countries like that. This government took credit for that. We don't fight you over that credit, take it. At the same time, they drew down the economy, brought it down to the barest minimum. The Ghana cedi was the worst performing currency in the world. Now is the second worst performing currency in the world. This president will not take discredit for that. He blames it on the what? Russian-Ukrainian war and also the COVID-19. Hear this now. Having gone through all this and all the problems with the cedi and the economy, the president is still standing firm that he will build that cathedral. He's not building hospitals. In fact, when the pandemic came, we were looking for hospitals where we would take patients to. The hospitals that the former government built, they were those that all these people were sent to. This president never built a single hospital. He promised he would give us 88 hospitals. And when it came to the time to deliver, he failed. But he went ahead to promise us 111 hospitals. The 88 failed, now it's 111. Which serious country will look at this comedian, this joker, and let him just play with our sentiments? Such a crazy joker. Such a crazy bald-headed joker. My brother, my sister, we are building our story. Hear what happened now. So because he's bent on building that cathedral, he got some criminal-minded clergy to come and be part of his associates of Alibaba and 40 thieves. He picked some of them. Now some of the well-meaning clergy men and women realized that he was building a foundation for Alibaba and the 40 thieves. Or better still, Alibaba and the 40 dwarfish thieves. They pulled out. Pastor Otterbill was one. Bishop Dag Heward Mills also resigned. And they both decided that they would not soil their reputation with this demonic cathedral. But that guy, Reverend Kusi Boateng'S, still stayed in there. He didn't care whether there was a pandemic or not, whether people were dying or not. He would still stay there and help, in quotes, build the cathedral. Little did we know that money was being siphoned from the cathedral project into his personal JNS account. It took Ablakwa to expose that. And when he dug deeper, he realized that the guy even has several identities with several different national ID cards. This is a dirty criminal walking around. If this comes out to be true, this will be one of the dirtiest clergymen, the dirtiest charlatans on the pulpit, parading as men of God. I don't care how many prophecies you give. I don't care how much you claim you eat with God or sleep with God. The most important thing to me is that you must represent God properly. Do you get me? Now, after those stolen identities, some people came out and said, oh, but it's his name, you know, in the house we have a different name, and then official names too are there. How about the change in the dates of birth? The house name has a different date of birth. The office name has a different date of birth. What are you doing? As if that was not enough. Blakk again went underground and realized that this man has a certain kind of passport that is called diplomatic passport. What criteria do you look at to give somebody a diplomatic passport? Is he a diplomat? Why has this guy got a diplomatic passport? Now let me just turn you around a little bit and show you the dirty nature of this man. Hear me. You remember that Reverend Owusu Bempah, find me that photograph of Reverend Owusu Bempah holding that horn. Reverend Owusu Bempah was the man who was seen as the president's spiritualist. Even in the president's acceptance speech to be president, he mentioned Reverend Owusu Bempah. Reverend Owusu Bempah was the one who was constantly anointing this president. He allegedly even gave him a spiritual chair, which Ghanaians call the magic chair. Everywhere the president went, there was this chair that was put in a V8 Land Cruiser. To drive with the president, he would not sit on any other chair except this one. Surprisingly, when he went for the UN meeting and all those, he didn't sit on this one because it would have been so glaring. But in Ghana, he will sit on that. After all, it's only in Ghana there's evil. Hear me now. He fell out with Reverend Owusu Bempah because Owusu Bempah himself became so arrogant. He went with his boys to attack a certain woman who was said to be a Kanjori woman. You know what it means to say Kanjori? She was charming things left, right, and center. Some kind of spirituality that has to do with paganism in quotes. Agrada. He went attacking this woman. We all saw that on video. And how he threatened that no policeman, no law in the country could hold him down as long as that woman was not held down. The man became overly arrogant. Reverend Owusu Bempah was my mate at Tia Amade Secondary School, Kumasi. I know him. He knows me. I love him. I respect him. But he was getting arrogant. Many people would call him to talk to the president on their behalf because of their closeness. That is that thing. You can see Reverend Owusu Bempah holding it. You can see Prophet Prempe also standing in the middle. I don't know the other two people at the back. This was the horn the president was anointed with by Reverend Owusu Bempah. Dash it out. They fell apart. Reverend Owusu Bempah was arrested because he threatened Agrada's life. Some of his church boys were even holding pistols. It was a good thing he was arrested, but look at how they treated him. He fell ill. They took him to the hospital and they chained him like a common criminal to his bed. He fell out with the president. But this is why I'm telling you this story. Whilst he was chained to his bed, he decided to speak with the president and say, Mr. President, you know I'm your spiritualist, even if I've done wrong. Is there a way you can help me out? The way I'm being treated here is so bad. He called the president over and over, according to Reverend Owusu Bempah himself. President never answered. So he now decided to speak with the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. He called him, he didn't answer. But somebody hinted Reverend Owusu Bempah that the Vice President was in the house of Reverend Kusi Boateng'S, this same man we're talking about. So Reverend Owusu Bempah realized all of a sudden, so I've been replaced. Now I am no longer the spiritualist of the president. They have gone for Reverend Kusi Boateng. But Kusi Boateng is my friend. Why don't I call him? Because I'm still in need. When I get him, what I will have to do right now is I will have to speak to the vice president through Reverend Kusi Boateng. And what happened? According to him, he called Reverend Kusi Boateng over and over. He refused to answer because he knew exactly what he was going to talk to him about. That ended it. My brother, my sister, Reverend Usu Bempa is hurt. But the point I'm making here is that this is a man of God who is in bed with the party in power. One, they are siphoning money into his personal company's accounts, JNS, as alleged by Blakk. Two, they have given him a diplomatic passport and I don't have one. Why? I don't need it anyway. But nobody has ever approached me to say, Blakk Rasta, you deserve a national diplomatic passport. After all, I represent this nation in so many different areas, and I believe that if there's any criterion that they stand on genuinely to give out this passport, I am one of those. True? Kwesi Pratt is one of those. Kweku Baku is one of those. These are the faces of this country. These are the people that you see on TV most of the time talking about national issues. Not Reverend Kusi Boateng. How many people would see him and recognize him on the street? If you go out and Google out faces of Ghana, his face will not appear there. My brother, my sister, I don't need that. Even if I was called and given that, I will reject it. I like to queue and be with my people and go wherever I am going. I don't want no diplomatic passport. I'm making a point. Today, if Reverend Kusi Boateng is getting that kind of passport, how did he get it? Blakk says he's taking him to the Parliament House. They are going to find out from the Minister of Foreign Affairs how Reverend Kusi Boateng got a diplomatic passport. And I'm in support of it. Blakk said he would do it. It's all over in the headlines that he will take him out there to the Parliament House where he works as an MP and make sure that they find out how come he has a diplomatic passport or a service passport. But interestingly, one of his boys, one of his pastors, says he's going to sue Blakk. This is the man. I hear he works at Multimedia. I worked there for 8 years. I don't think I ever met him. I don't know. I don't know him, honestly. But these are supposed to be the studios of Multimedia, Adom TV. I am told that's where he works. I honestly don't know him. But he's a pastor in the church of Reverend Kusi Boateng. He cannot sit down and see his father, spiritual father, disgraced like this. That's the same guy. My brother, my sister, sometimes he preaches alongside Reverend Kusi Boateng, and you see him on some flyers preaching together. Watch this. Reverend Kusi Boateng's spiritual son to sue Okujeto Blakk, Bright Simmons, for defamation. Listen. And when you look at that flyer, that's Reverend Kusi Boateng up there. Now, when you come down on the left, that is the man we are talking about, who is the spiritual son. Let's read. What does it say? Blakk Ampedu, a man who describes himself as a spiritual son of embattled leader of the Power Chapel worldwide. Reverend Victor Kusi Boateng has vowed to institute legal action against Samuel Okujeto Blakk, the Member of Parliament of North Tongue, and Bright Simmons, Vice President of Imani Africa, over their decision to share a flyer with his image on social media. Blakk Ampedu, who is a reporter with the multimedia group claimed that the use of the flyer has negatively affected his reputation and that he is heading to court to seek redress. Despite issuing a notice for Bright Simmons and Okudzeto Blakk to pull down the said post with his image, they refused. I think that's what they wanted to say. And Pedu holds that the court would deliver justice for what he considers to be an act of defamation against him. He claims to have no issue with the allegations leveled against Reverend Kusi Boateng'S by Okudzeto Blakk, but holds that the use of the said photo has injured his image and integrity in the eyes of right-thinking members of the public. 2 days ago, I received a photo from one of my mates with the question that he didn't know me to be a singer. I replied that I am a singer. He asked if I was aware of a flyer of what? Roll it up. Of a Power Chapel program with me on it that Okudzeto has shared. I asked what it was about, and he said Blakk claimed to be making an expose, and he had named Reverend Kusi Boateng'S and his spiritual sons as owners of DNS. I asked if my name was mentioned, and he responded in the negative. I went to Okudzeto Blakk's wall, and I saw a flyer with my photo. I didn't take it seriously until after the morning show. Some colleagues here who knew Reverend Victor as my spiritual father came to me raising issues about the whole photo. Due to the number of people who approached me, I began to see things differently. Yesterday, another colleague sent one from Bright Simmons. He had made a post with the same photo Blakk used. Then I got another one with an arrow pointing towards me. I am a lead producer of a morning show. I have done it for close to 11 years. So I cannot toy with my integrity if an honorable member pushes these pictures on social media without thinking about the sensitive nature of such a picture. I issued a statement and told Okudzeto Blakk and Bright Simmons to pull down the flyer with immediate effect and offer an unqualified apology. They have not pulled it down. Even if they pull it down and offer the apology, I will sue them. I will still go ahead to seek redress, he said on Asempa FM. Dash it away. I think we are here to joke. This is your spiritual father. If he's going down, go down with him. Be bold. He's your spiritual father. You call him dada, dada, father, father. He annoys you. If he's going down, go down with him. Stand firm and say that, yes, we believe in our spiritual father. Don't say they should remove your picture and leave your spiritual father's picture there. You are a coward. Bring the headline again. What's the headline saying? Reverend Kusi Boateng'S spiritual son to sue Okudzeto Blakk, Bright Simmons for defamation. Dash it out. And the thing, that flyer says immorality. So he just wants to say that as for him, he's a singer. He goes to the church there to sing. He has nothing to do with his father's shenanigans. Are you dissociating yourself from your father's criminal acts, allegedly? Or you want to say that? I don't get it. If it's your spiritual father and you so much believe in him, stand by him and say that, well, I believe in him. Wherever his picture goes, let my picture also go. It doesn't matter. You are protecting your 11-year-old job. It's about your stomach. Because by now, multimedia is giving you pressure and saying that, hey, we don't want to associate our brand with this. You want to protect your job. If I were you, I would say, okay, I'll go with my spiritual father. After all, he's the one taking me to heaven. Now you have become Judas. Judas, you are running away from your spiritual father. Or maybe you are that other one, the one who said the cock will crow before the cock crows 3 times. You will deny me, Jesus Christ told him. That was Peter, right? You, Peter, I will Petro. When you hear the three people, I will Petro. especially my Fanti people. I will petrol. Before there, I could come back 3 times. I will deny him. You know, Fantis will like to add the English and the tree. Oh, that be yes, me the madden. Aden. Miss me the madden. Me a tone nana. There be a tone. And it came to pass. Don't behave like Peter. Go with your spiritual father. If you believe him and trust him, don't be running to protect your stomach. Follow him. I'm surprised that people of his church are not coming to say, I stand with Reverend Kusi Boateng'S like they did with Otabel. Some people are so foolish to the point that when there's a national issue, they don't look at it with the national lenses. They look at it with church lenses. Church is different from spiritual lenses. A lot of people in Ghana, when their pastors are in such mess, they are on social media. I stand with Reverend Kusi Boateng'S. Fools. Let the nation take its course. Let the Lord take its course. No. I stand with Reverend Kusi Boateng'S. I stand with Otabel. I stand. Who was the last one? I stand with this. As for Binim, I have not seen anybody. Maybe the people in his church are all illiterates. They don't go on social media. Maybe so they don't do that. But Otabel, I stand with Otabel. I stand with this person. I stand with this person. There's an issue that has been brought out. Let's look at the issues and deal with the issues. No! I stand with this person. How do you stand with the person? The person would not be there if the nation was not there. Can he act in space? Will you go to church in space? Will you go to church on Mercury? Or Venus? Or Jupiter? Hey, let us be patriotic. Let's look at Ghana first. If your pastor, no matter how powerful he is, or allegedly is, let the Lord take his course. We spent so much time on this issue. This was the point I wanted to make. Whether you are a spiritual son, spiritual doctor, spiritual engineer, spiritual son, when the issue comes, let's give it a national lens. Look at it like that. Don't give it church lenses. Dash it away and bring me the next issue. Now the next one I want us to look at says, foreigners hijack Ghana economy. Foreigners hijack Ghana economy. And who is saying this? Oh, okay. I know this man. He's called Daniel Macaulay, a.k.a. McDAN. Wow. I know him. Is that what he's saying? That foreigners have hijacked the Ghanaian economy? Prove to me that he said this. Oh, okay. From Ghana where? Ghana's economy has been largely foreign controlled. McDAN laments. Chairman of the McDAN group of companies, Dr. Daniel Macaulay, has expressed concern about the disparity in Ghana's economy and lack of control by indigents. Wow. Wow. According to him, the economy has over the years been largely controlled by economists, by foreigners, while Ghanaians only play a contributory role. I wish he had said a subordinate role, because we are all contributing. Speaking at the 2023 annual New Year School and Conference at the University of Ghana, Legon, Dr. Daniel Macaulay said, Ghanaian businessmen don't control any sector of this country. Rather, we contribute. In fact, all sectors in Ghana are controlled by foreigners, and the emphasis is on all sectors. Banking is controlled by Nigerians and South Africans. Retail is controlled by Lebanese and Indians. Manufacturing is controlled by Indians and Lebanese. Telecom sector is controlled by the British and South African. Oil and gas, mining, trading, you name it, they are all controlled by foreigners, Dr. Macaulay pointed out. Touching on how foreign dominance in Ghana's economy can be addressed, McDAN urged for competent Ghanaian companies to be given first right opportunities in growth. He also called for the participation of Ghanaian businesses to participate in key sectors of the economy. We must know this. Small businesses don't build nations. Big businesses do. When the big businesses lead the way, they build small businesses around and push growth and become the true engine of growth. He stressed. The 2023 annual New Year School and Conference is positioning the African market for sustainable economic development through African Continental Trade Area, AFTA. Dash it away. What McDAN has said is nothing but the truth. Do you agree with him? Love him or loathe him, what he has said is nothing but the truth. Come here. Listen, we claim to be independent. What we have is pseudo-independence, make-believe independence. Your president is busily flying out of this country, running to gays and lesbians that he hates, that his religion hates, to ask for aid. The president hates the gays and the lesbians, yet he loves their money. If gays and lesbians come out right now and say that they will contribute money to build that cathedral, Mr. President would accept it. All he needs is anointing oil from the horn of a ram, and Reverend Kusi Boateng'S holding it and shouting, Hori Baba, Hori Baba, Hori Baba. If he's able to patch up with Reverend Owusu Bempa by then, he would also come there and hold the horn, pour oil on the ground, and do Hori Baba, Hori Baba, Hori Baba, and go away. My brother, common sense must come to the table. Listen, all the sectors, as said by McDAN, are controlled by wicked people. The other day, because of shawarma, somebody's head was pushed right into hot pepper by Lebanese. Chinese are degrading our land, and when we arrest them, we are told by a brainless senior advisor or Safo that jailing them or punishing them will not help our country grow. So we put them on the plane first class and send them back to China. Within 2 days, they are back in Ghana again, to the point that the president himself is so confused. Old age has taken the better part of his brains. He says, I don't know if Asha Wang actually went to China, whether she was deported or not, or maybe they took her to Kwesingpe and brought her back. I don't know. But the problem of Ghana is divine. And the president is still here. He's not impeached. He says the problem of Ghana is divine. So you have put out all human efforts. You are not working. Leave so that we can ask God to come and be the president of this country. And the guy is still here. Why should he still be president? Hey! It's like you bring your doctor to cure you. The doctor comes and looks at you and says, hey, this your sickness is divine. Will you still keep this doctor? Please reason with me. If your doctor that you pay to take care of your health comes to you to take care of a certain condition, and he tells you that he has done everything, this thing is not going, he believes that this thing that is worrying you is divine, spiritual, will you still keep him? I will not keep him. He's telling you that he cannot do anything about it. But we still keep the bald-headed president there, who wants all the space in the plane to stretch his dwarfish legs. And you don't have a problem with that. 18,000 pounds an hour. He's flying all over the country looking for Arabs to come and invest. Looking all the way for British to come and invest. One of the biggest investments we have here is by an African and not by the British and the Arabs. Dangote, do you know how much investment he has in this country? I don't see them as foreigners. I don't see Africans as foreigners anywhere. Outside the continent of Africa, anybody who comes in is a foreigner. In fact, as a Garveyite, I tend to look at the suffering of black people more. Because black people are those who are downtrodden. Black people are those who have been vilified, humiliated, assassinated all these years. The Holocaust, we were those who suffered. Slavery, we were those who suffered. And we keep suffering. So if there's anything in terms of investment I will give out, I'll give it to black people. I don't see Nigerians as foreigners. Neither do I see Togolese as foreigners. We need to interplay. Africans must come together and work out. Do you get it? My brother, my sister. And where McDAN made this statement, bring back those shots. The last bit of the shot. And let me show you something. Watch this. The last paragraph says the 2023 annual New Year School and Conference is what? Positioning the African market, not the Ghanaian market, for sustainable economic development through African Continental Free Trade Area, AFTA. So when Nigerians are here, I don't see them as foreigners. Same way Nigerians must have that mentality that when Ghanaians and Ethiopians are there, they are not foreigners. They are brothers and sisters who live in other areas. We are the most downtrodden people. We must learn to come together and uplift ourselves if we want respect. McDAN has spoken nothing but the truth in terms of Syrians, Lebanese, Arabs, and all the people coming in here. We have no problem with that. The problem is that they are giving priority treatment. They own. I was in Guyana. And all the major companies, all the major sectors were controlled by Indians. Yet 90% of the whole of Guyana is black to the core. And I asked why. So, you know, they have the power, they have the money. So you know what I told my Guyanese people? Start by encouraging the small black businesses. If you want to buy a bottle of soda, look for a black shop that sells it and buy. Don't walk into an Indian shop that is air conditioned because it's air conditioned, you go and buy. You are empowering the Indian shop above your own black people. You will continue to be down there. Before I left Guyana, I saw it happening. It's the same thing we have to do here. We were murdered and slaughtered in South Africa day and night. Nigerians, Ghanaians, Zimbabweans, they burnt us alive while the police sat and watched. Boycott their shops. They are not ready to behave like Africans. This is no racist teaching. This is no xenophobia. It's common sense. That, oh, other Africans are coming into their country and taking their jobs. Who is the one employing them? Deal with the employer. It's like a stupid woman who goes to beat up another woman because her husband is following that woman. Beat your husband. Beat your husband. Why should a woman come in and see the husband with another woman and start beating up the woman? Why? Did she break into the house? Go after the man. If there's anybody you have to go after. It's common sense. Do not treat symptoms. Treat the root cause of the sickness. If you have malaria, don't go swallowing paracetamol because you have pain. Deal with the parasite. That's what we're talking about. Our biggest problem here is to bring Chinese, Indians, Lebanese, British, Americans and make them superiors and bring Ghanaians in to serve them as subordinates. That's what McDAN is talking about. But on the same note, McDAN, I will keep coming after you. Listen, You were the same McDAN who said that you don't like employing Ghanaians and Africans because they are what? Not loyal. You prefer employing other people. So the nation has heard you. The nation will not give the big businesses to Ghanaians because they are dishonest. They will go for the foreigners that you believe and trust. You need to apologize for that statement. Until then, we will continue referring you to that. I mean, an investor who has common sense and knows that you, McDAN, you have succeeded in your business. And he has heard you, McDAN, say that you will not employ Ghanaians. Most of the time, you are not interested in that because they are not loyal. They steal from you. So you prefer employing other people. Another idiot sat somewhere and said, oh, I went to Dr. What's the doctor's name? That, oh, he has employed only people from Philippines, Sri Lankans and Filipinos in his hospital. Dr. something, some NDC doctor, I've forgotten his name. You all know this story I'm talking about. Canada, Japan said he went into this doctor's hospital and all the people working there were Filipinos and Sri Lankan, and he was happy because they gave him good treatment. Good treatment. They massage him. Oh, today Canada, Japan wants to be president. We should vote you as president so you go and bring Filipinos and Sri Lanka. Think when we are talking. It's the same thing Macaulay said. I would employ not Ghanaians because they are not loyal. Today you are saying that your economy has been taken away by who? Foreigners, Syrians, Lebanese. I heard Canada Japan also saying that he went on the Spintex Road and all the big shops that were owned by Syrians and Lebanese. What did you expect? I'm trying to remember the name of that doctor. His wife was in the gender ministry. The gender ministry. They divorced. We've talked about this man over and over. And here he has some hospital and he's employed Filipinos and Sri Lankans according to Canada, Japan, and they deliver good services. And you are an MP. So if you say things like this, investors coming into the country already have their mindset that Ghanaians are not loyal. Why should they employ them? Then you, the same people, Macaulay and Kennedy, come back and say, oh, you know, the Spintex Road is just Lebanese and Syrians who have taken over the place. Why? Why? Macaulay also can hey, all the big businesses, it is Syrians, Lebanese, Americans who are taking over the... No, sir. When we return, we'll talk some more. Hey! Wayo!
Blackpot, Kuku show.
This is the Black Pot, aka Kukushonamo, where we speak truth to power. Yes, truth to power. Come here! Next thing. Samini weeps as Hammer chisels away drug addiction. Hammer is a sound engineer in Ghana. That's him. Amma. As most of my Ghana friends call him, Amma. He's a sound engineer. Hip hop. In fact, me and him worked briefly, assigned by Livingston Aka, Barney. In fact, we worked at Madhouse briefly. I was signed as an artist. And I went there. It didn't work out. And then I left after about 2 weeks or so. But if you wanted to find Hammer, just smell where the cigarette was coming from. Cigarette stench. He was the king of cigarettes. Hammer would smoke cigarettes, stick after stick. Hey, the whole building, if you wanted to find Hammer, just start sniffing where the cigarette smoke was. After a few months, when I heard Hammer had stopped smoking, I knew that everything was possible under the sun. A cigarette addict. Hammer stopped smoking. I was shocked. But why am I talking about Hammer? There was a sound engineer that I knew and I loved. I recorded with him. Hey, so brilliant. Reggae. My God. It was called Red Eye. That's Red Eye. He went into a serious addiction. And Hammer saw him and brought him and took him all the way to a rehab. This was how he looked. A very handsome guy. When I saw this video, I almost cried. But thankfully, he went into rehab. Look at how he looked. Drugs. And this was Hammer there, delivering a motivational speech, using himself as somebody who used to smoke a lot of cigarettes and maybe some other herbs. And he got out of it. And he encouraged them. 4 months later, this is now the guy that you saw. Powerful sound engineer. He worked with almost all the big artists in Ghana. Yes, this was his partner, Oguns. They came from America to come and record in Ghana and live in Ghana. Niatakra Mensa also supported to take him to the rehab. Look at how he looks now after 4 months. This is the mother. His mother is on the other side. I am so happy about this. Samini saw this video. He's also worked with him before. And he wept. How did Samini weep? You see? Samini cries after seeing video of Red Eye. Dash it away. Red Eye was in America with his mother and family. He was rapping. And he met Oguns, the other gentleman you saw in the video, in America. And he told him, you see this thing you are doing? The best way to get results is to go to Ghana and work with a man called Hammer. He's the new in thing when it comes to hip-hop. He enplaned, came all the way to Ghana, Red Eye, because of Hammer. And when he went into Hammer's studio to record just 2 songs, Hammer saw the talent in him and turned him into a producer. Before he left, he was a full-blown producer who had his own business. His recording studio and was recording so many artists. He got hooked on drugs. There was a Facebook post that he was almost like a madman walking around, falling in ditches and gutters. Hammer saw it, asked for the post to be brought down, and he looked for Red Eye. Alongside Niatakra Mensa of GhanaMusic.com. They hijacked him, ambushed him, and took him away to the rehab center. Today, this is the result. Hammer couldn't sit back and say, this guy came to Ghana because of me. Look how he's ended. The music industry is so terrible. So many different temptations coming in left, right, and center. Hammer, I salute you. This is what Hammer posted. 4 months ago, we raised a call to action to save our colleague producer, Red Eye, who was trapped in a very dark place. Today, we are proud to say he's been treated and fully discharged from the chosen rehab center by God's grace. Congratulations, Red Eye. Of course, they tried to have Red Eye go into some rehab centers. I visited him in some of those, but they were not really good ones. Hammer was able to choose a good one, and I believe that this is the end of the whole thing. We will continue to pray for you and also to support you. Let's all start supporting him and choose your friends now. This is the Black Pot, aka Kukushonamo, where we speak truth to power. When we return.
Blakk, Kuku Show.
This is the Black Pot, aka Kukushunamo, where we speak truth to power. And my name, Blakk RASTA. Next story. And we are going to be very brief with this. I need SONGOR monopoly to succeed. And who is saying this? McDAN. In Adan, they call him McDAN, the locals. Listen, I met with McDAN only last week. I have some rough photographs to show you. That's me and McDAN. We met in his house and we spoke because he had not given us any interview. We tried to talk to him about this SONGOR Lagoon thing. He was not ready to talk to us. All our calls went unanswered. Text messages went unanswered until he felt that this was the right time to invite us over. So we went there to speak with him. Even though he did not allow us to tape him, in other words, record the interview, he still spoke with us. Come here, dash it away and come. Now, when I spoke with McDAN about the SONGOR Lagoon, how he's gone there to monopolize it, using the chiefs and the government and its influences, people are being shot, and so on and so forth, all because of his selfish domination or dominance of the SONGOR Lagoon, which Nene Kole himself said should never ever be monopolized. He told me, now listen, Blakk RASTA, I need that monopoly to be able to succeed. Have you found anywhere in your research why the other people who came there, the other concessions on SONGOR Lagoon did not succeed? It was because there was confusion. That's what he said in his own words. Now we need one person to be able to pump the water into the lagoon from the sea. And if he spends a lot of money to be able to do this, and other concessions would come in and benefit and enjoy from that, it's not fair. So you need one man to be able to deal with this concession, monopolize it, so that he can control the whole lagoon and make money out of it. Asked if they gave him the whole lagoon, he said yes. He has the papers to control the whole lagoon. But he said he's brought the people in, the indigenous people, giving them 11 pans to make their salt in every locality in Adan and beyond. My brother, my sister, we're going to get deeper into this and find out whether that monopoly is good or is bad. And I promise you that we'll get deeper into it. Today we've run out of time and we'll talk some more. This is the Black Pot, aka Kukushonamo, where we speak truth to power. In the next edition, we're going to be talking about the attacks allegedly from McDAN in Adan. We are also going to look at the monopoly, and we are also going to look at the fact that McDAN is a businessman and he needs to succeed. Is this the right investment? Did other people try to go in there and did not succeed? Did the people of Adan, the chiefs and people, ask for an investor for the SONGOR Lagoon? So what's wrong with McDAN being there? Is there a problem? We will find out. Did they envisage that he was going to be given the whole thing as an investor? or some portions of it. McDAN says in order for it to make business sense to him, he needs to have full monopoly of the place. But he will do his social responsibilities. Are the people ready for that? We shall find out when we return. This is the Blakk Pot, aka Kukushonomo, where we speak truth to power. And my name, Blakk Rasta. I love you. Hey! Wayo!